Hello, this is Bad Vibes. Today's video is a little different than normal. This video is fictional, but since it's spooky season, and since I like to do these every once in a while, I thought, why not? I hope you enjoy, and sit back, relax, and hit that like button. My ex-boyfriend is an asshole. That seems like a proper way to start this. I'm not quite familiar with typing up or sharing personal things like this, so I'm sorry if my wording is a little fucked up. My mind is in absolute chaos right now. My thoughts are so rampant in my head, I can almost feel them pinging off my skull. We'll start a few weeks ago. I reached the end of my roast with my now ex-boyfriend, Jamie. Long story short, after being suspicious for a few weeks, I finally found out that he had been seeing another woman. I was hurt. I was pissed. I felt terrible. Was I not good enough? Not pretty enough? What did she have that I didn't? You know, self-deprecating bullshit. Leave it to him, making me feel so awful over something that wasn't my fault. In my fury, I made stupid decisions, as we all do from time to time. My broken heart spoke to me, said, "Download Tinder," in a tempting voice. My brain argued that it was probably the least helpful thing I could do for my psyche, but common sense was far from reach at this point. With men at my literal fingertips, knowingly serving as a distraction from my crippling pain and self-destructive behavior, how could I say no? Like I said, common sense was long gone. A few days later, I had already matched and was chatting with this guy, Landon. He was good looking, well-mannered, and down to fuck pretty much any time. People do this. They hook up when they're single. Casual sex is perfectly fine as long as I know that I'm being safe, right? Right. Nothing could possibly go wrong. Flash forward to that Friday night. I'm not gonna lie and say that I was feeling confident. I showered, shaved everything from the neck down, exfoliated, the whole 9 yards. I'd never been with anyone besides Jamie, so my whole body was shaking with anxiety. I kept repeating to myself over and over again, it's just a Tinder date. I didn't have to do anything that I didn't want to do. If things went well, then we could go from there. I kept pepper spray on my key ring too, because I'm not entirely an idiot. I'll save you the trouble of reading about the date, because that's not the important part here. Basically, it went well. After I finally calmed down, thanks to a few glasses of wine, our chemistry was off the charts. My foot rubbed his beneath the table. It felt red hot. He had beautiful blue eyes that held mine, and the people surrounding us at the restaurant were as good as gone. He insisted that we go back to his place for a nightcap. I asked for the check about 30 seconds later. I almost didn't recognize the way my body was reacting. Even my thoughts were different. Guys, I'm not exaggerating when I say that I was completely captivated and aroused by his mere presence. It was confusing, but it was exhilarating. I was never the girl who flirted with only my facial expressions. Deep in my voice, threw myself at him like I had no self-respect. As the night progressed, I was overcome with lust, like a dog begging for water on a hot fucking day. When our lips connected, there was no stopping us. I let go of all my anger, all my thoughts, reservations. I let go of everything. That night, I had the best sex I've ever had in my life. I'm talking legs shaking, back-to-back orgasms, sweat rolling off every part of our body sex. Now that I think back on it and picture it in my head, it almost felt like some sort of dream or some sort of trance. It was so out of character, but I blamed it on all the emotions I had been holding in from that awful breakup. Landon and I texted a few more times after that night, but it felt different. I felt different. Not like you would expect. I didn't feel guilty or disgusting. I didn't feel like a whore. I just felt off. That's the only way I can describe it. I'm not the best with words and conveying a feeling, but my body didn't feel like it was my own anymore. Like I was a different person with the same skin. That probably makes no sense. Moving on. It gets even more odd. The more I think about that night, the more I think about Landon and everything we've done, the crazier I felt. The attraction to him dissipated and floated away. I had no drive to see him again. I remember his skin being hot, smooth like silk. Now it seemed like the memory made him feel gray, bland. His electric blue eyes were dull, like some kind of inner glow that had drawn me to him was gone, and I felt nothing for him anymore. No attraction. He was almost unrecognizable. I was sure that I was losing my fucking mind. Fast forward to this morning. I've spent the last week wallowing in regret and self-pity. I came to my senses and deleted Tinder, acted like that part of my life never happened, and tried to move forward. I was laying in bed around 8 in the morning, convincing myself to get up and get ready for work when my stomach dropped. My throat tightened and tingled, saliva pooling beneath my tongue. I sprinted like a blur into the bathroom and heaved into the toilet. With fresh sweat still forming in drops on my forehead, I frantically tried to think of what I ate yesterday. Could it have made me sick? I went back further and further. In the heat of the moment and the heavy days of my trance, did I remember Landon putting a condom on? Why did that whole night seem so far away now? There was absolutely no way in hell I didn't even want to say the word. A loud ping from my bedside table jerked me from my thoughts, and I tried to steady my breathing as I scrambled to the phone to read a text message. The text was from Landon. "Did you receive the good news yet, beautiful girl?" I stared in awe at the screen, typed out "What the fuck are you talking about?" and threw my phone into my purse. I was out the door and in my car in less than 3 minutes. I bought 2 water bottles and 5 pregnancy tests. I had to be sure. I fought back a panic attack as I checked out, not bothering to call my boss and tell them that I'd be late to work. Once I was home, stomach full of water, I waited anxiously to pee. No response from Landon, so I texted him again and told him he wasn't being funny and that he needed to talk to me as soon as possible. Now I'm sitting here on the bathroom floor with 5 pregnancy tests in front of me, all of them reading a tiny blurry plus sign. I have one message on my phone from Landon that reads, "Wonderful. Abide by the following rules. Meat should be the priority in your diet. You will crave it. That's normal. The development process will be quick and sometimes painful. You will endure it. Should you attempt to rid your body, you will not survive. You are attached and codependent. Do not seek mental help under any circumstances. You will be monitored always. Keep that in mind. I have decided that your body and womb are both qualified to endure this process. You have qualities that are valued greatly in regards to a new generation. Much appreciated, beautiful girl. Talk soon." Please help me. Hey guys, I'm sorry I wasn't able to update yesterday like I planned, but I'm exhausted. Things already feel like they've gone downhill, even in such a short amount of time. It feels like all the energy in my whole body has been drained. When I look in the mirror, I can't help but see the dull, gray tones in my skin. I've cried, I've screamed, I sat on the floor and stared into space, trying to keep myself from going crazy. It's been a rough time. In the past few hours, I've been reading your comments, and I'm trying to do some investigating into what exactly could be going on with me. Everything in me is trying to believe that this isn't something inhuman, but I can't convince myself otherwise, especially after I've noticed some new symptoms. Now, I don't know if this is just my mind playing tricks on me or what, but I have friends who have kids and they've never described anything like this. First thing I noticed, of course, the lack of energy. I felt lightheaded getting up after laying down or sitting for more than a few minutes, like I've just ran a marathon or climbed a mountain. Watching television, the images seem to be skipping or lagging. That's the best way I can think to describe it. Maybe the exhaustion is getting to my eyesight. I'm hungry all the time, but I don't feel any better after I've eaten. Landon was right. All I wanted to eat was meat. I've eaten like 4 hamburgers in the past 12 hours. Nothing else sounds good. I have, however, been drinking tons of water because dehydration will only make things worse. My stomach feels weird, not like nauseous or anything, but to the touch. There's no bump, obviously, but it does feel hard. In the most accurate way I could put it, it feels like there's 2 layers of skin. The top is normal. The second layer feels tight and thick, kind of like leather. The skin on top moves over it like a latex glove on a hand. The second layer even looks like it has a texture. I hope that makes sense. This might be too much information, but I don't want to leave out any details. I've been bleeding, spotting a little bit today. From what I know, that can be normal. But this blood is odd. It's dark, almost black, and watery. I'm sorry for the detail, but it seems important for you guys to know. I've texted Landon so many times I've lost count, but he hasn't responded. Somehow I'm not surprised. I just wish I knew more of what was happening to me. Google hasn't helped me much, if at all, and I'm so terrified, guys. I've never been so scared in my fucking life. I've also wanted to take this time to let you guys know a little bit more about me in case you have any questions. I'm 23 years old. I've only had 2 sexual partners. I'm not currently on birth control, as me and my ex were in the process of trying to get pregnant before I suspected him of cheating on me. I'm not usually so careless in my behavior. I'm still so pissed off at myself for putting myself in this situation. It's so sad what a broken heart can do to a person. I wanted a family with him, for fuck's sakes. But anyway, earlier today I was looking for some options. I talked myself up and checked out some places around me on the internet for an abortion. I called ahead, had an appointment made for a week, but after having another panic attack, I got my shit and walked out, planning to go straight to an emergency room instead of waiting any longer. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get very far. Right beside my car were 2 men I didn't recognize. They didn't take their eyes off of me the entire time I walked up to the driver's side door. "Excuse me, do I know you?" I asked them both, but they didn't even blink. One guy stood directly in front of the door, so I couldn't open it. I threatened to call the police, but they remained still as concrete. I didn't stand a chance against them, so I hung my head and walked back into my house. I called the police. They said they were on their way and would be there as soon as possible. That was 5 hours ago. Since then, I've heard continuous rustling outside my window. I haven't caught sight of anything. I can hear scratching and scraping from the windows on my second floor. I don't even want to know what could be causing it. All I know is that it's not the trees. I told my boss I had terrible food poisoning and would be out until it subsided to buy me some time. I'm scared to leave my house. I'm scared to get my friends or family involved. I feel like I'm under constant surveillance and I don't know what to do. So I'm alone and confused and scared. I feel so fucking stupid for the poor decisions I've made and don't see how this could turn out well for me in the end. I'm afraid to be alive. I'm afraid to try anything. Please feel free to message me. My ears are open to any and all suggestions. I appreciate everyone who has left a comment so far and has given me some ideas to look into. Maybe if we can figure out what this is, then we can figure out how to get rid of it. That is, without them knowing. I'm not sure if they can monitor my internet usage or anything like that, so I think I'm safe to post it here. It does bring forward a question of how they knew I was going to go to the emergency room. I don't know how much they know. I'll try to keep you guys updated as things progress. Again, thank you for those trying to help. It means the world to me.